You've seen the headlines. The Simpsons predicted Trump's presidency. They predicted smartwatches. They even predicted Disney buying Fox. And if you spent any time on the internet in the last decade, you've probably seen someone claim that The Simpsons can see the future. But here's what nobody talks about. The show has been on air since 1989. That's over 700 episodes. So is it really a prediction? Or is it something else entirely? Because when I started digging into this, what I found wasn't what I expected at all. Look, I'm not here to debunk conspiracy theories for fun. I spent 3 months on this because the actual answer turned out to be way more interesting than they're time travelers or whatever Reddit is saying this week. So let's figure this out. Let's start with the big ones everyone loves to talk about. In the year 2000, The Simpsons showed us President Trump, 16 years before it actually happened. The episode, Bart to the Future, literally shows Lisa becoming president and saying, "We inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump." That's weirdly specific. Then there's the smartwatch thing. In 1995, they showed characters using watches to make phone calls. The Apple Watch came out in 2015, 20 years later. And Disney buying Fox? They joked about that in 1998. It actually happened in 2019, 21 years after the joke. But here's my favorite, and this is where things get actually insane. In 2012, scientists at CERN discovered the Higgs Boson, this fundamental particle that basically explains why stuff in the universe has mass. It's a huge deal in physics. 15 years earlier, in 1998, Homer writes an equation on a blackboard. Just random scribbling to most viewers, right? Wrong. A particle physicist looked at it and realized it was an attempt to calculate the mass of the Higgs boson. And while it wasn't exactly right, it showed that they were thinking about real cutting-edge physics years before the actual discovery. What the hell? If you're enjoying this existential crisis as much as I am, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you're going to want to see where this goes because the explanation gets weirder. So naturally, when mainstream media tries to explain this, they go with the simplest answer. It's all just probability. The logic goes like this. The Simpsons has aired over 700 episodes. Each episode has roughly 8.5 jokes per minute. That's over 120,000 jokes total. With that many shots at the future, some are bound to hit, right? They compare it to Star Trek. Star Trek has over 760 episodes and 13 movies. Star Trek also predicted stuff like the flip phones and tablets. Clearly, it's just a numbers game, making up predictions, and some will come true by pure chance. And honestly, for a minute, I bought it. It makes sense. But then I actually counted, and here's where the mainstream explanation falls apart completely. The Simpsons doesn't have the same number of accurate predictions as other shows. It has way more, like not even close. Star Trek predictions? Mostly surface level tech stuff. Flip phones, flat screens, video calls. Cool, but not exactly mind-blowing. Nobody's starting conspiracy theories about Star Trek. The Simpsons has about 30 predictions that can't be explained as coincidence. We're not talking about they showed a phone and now phones exist. We're talking about specific political events, specific company mergers, specific cultural moments that happen exactly as depicted. I had someone watch 100 randomly selected episodes and catalog every joke or plot point that could potentially come true. Then we hired an actual statistician, not a Fiverr bot pretending to be one. That happened and it was embarrassing, but a real professional. Their conclusion? The Simpsons genuinely stands out, statistically significant. That's the phrase they used. So if it's not just luck, then what the hell is it? Well, let me take you back to that Higgs Boson equation, because this is where everything clicked for me. The equation Homer writes in 1998 wasn't just random symbols. It used genuine physical constants, real numbers that, when combined properly, gave a plausible mass for the Higgs boson, a particle that hadn't even been confirmed to exist yet. The writer of that episode was David X. Cohen. And here's the thing about Cohen. He has a degree in physics from Harvard and a master's in computer science, published papers in mathematical journals. This isn't some random comedy writer throwing Greek symbols on a chalkboard. When Cohen wanted to create that equation, he called his friend David Schmikovich, a physics professor at Columbia. They had been in a teenage computer program gang together called the Glitch Masters. Yeah, That's real. Cohen asked Schmickovich to create an equation that would give a plausible result for the Higgs boson. And while it wasn't exactly right, it showed that they were thinking about real cutting-edge physics years before the actual discovery. But here's what matters. It wasn't a prediction. It was satire. They were poking fun at cutting-edge physics research that the public barely knew existed. So I went down a rabbit hole. Who are these writers? The Simpsons writing room isn't like other TV shows. Most comedy writers have backgrounds in, well, comedy, maybe English or theater. Simpsons? Their writers have degrees in mathematics, computer science, physics, philosophy. One of them, Ken Keeler, has a PhD in applied mathematics from Harvard. Another, Jeff Westbrook, has a PhD in computer science from Princeton and taught at Yale. These aren't just comedy writers who happen to be smart. These are people who rejected careers in academia to write jokes. And because of that, they're connected to people on the cutting edge of science, politics, and culture. When they put something in an episode, it's not random, it's informed. They're satirizing real trends, real research, real political talk that's happening behind closed doors. Let's go back to President Trump because this one bothered people the most. The episode aired in 2000. Trump became president in 2016. 16 years earlier, they called it, except they didn't predict anything. Trump had been talking about running for president since 1988. He ran for the Reform Party nomination in 2000, the same year that episode aired. In interviews throughout the 90s, he repeatedly hinted at political ambitions. The Simpson writers weren't predicting the future. They were making fun of something that was already happening. Trump as president was such an absurd idea at the time that it became the perfect satire. Things have gotten so bad that even Trump is president. It's the same pattern over and over. The Disney-Fox merger? Industry people have been speculating about media consolidation for years. Smartwatches? Tech companies have been trying to make wearable phones work since the 80s. The writers aren't psychic. They're just paying attention. I scraped together all the data I could find on Simpsons predictions and made a chart. When you plot the accurate predictions by season and overlay it with the show's IMDb ratings, something interesting appears. The best rated episodes, the ones people loved most, had the most predictions, and those seasons corresponded exactly when the most educated writers were on staff. On average, it takes about 13 years for a Simpsons prediction to come true. What else that means? It takes about 13 years for society to catch up to what smart, connected people were already noticing. Good satire is ahead of its time. That's literally the point. The writers are supposed to be more aware, socially, politically, scientifically, than the average viewer. When they nail it, the show becomes timeless. When they miss, nobody remembers the joke. Now, full transparency, there are a few predictions that are straight up coincidence. 9/11 one that everyone freaks out about? In 1997, Bart holds up a magazine that says New York $9 with the Twin Towers behind it. People claimed it looked like 9/11. That's just coincidence. The show's executive producer, Al Jean, even confirmed it was a terrible coincidence and nothing more. The episode had nothing to do with terrorism or attacks. It was a magazine cover with the New York skyline. That's it. With 700 plus episodes, some truly absurd coincidences will happen. Actually, how statistics works. In a city of 9 million people, a 1 in a million event should happen 9 times a day. But the sophisticated predictions, the Trump presidency, the Higgs boson, Disney buying Fox, those aren't coincidences. They're informed satire. So here's the truth. The Simpsons aren't predicting the future. They are just written by people who understand the present better than most of us. They have PhDs talking to other PhDs. They have connection to cutting-edge research. They're reading political analysis that won't hit mainstream news for another decade. And they turn all of it into jokes. When those jokes come true, it feels like magic. But it's not. It's just really, really good writing by really, really educated people who are making fun of where society is obviously headed. The conspiracy theories are wrong, but I get why people believe them. It's easier to imagine some secret society controlling The Simpsons than it is to accept that a bunch of Harvard physics nerds saw things coming that we didn't. I spent 3 months researching, so smash that like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and until next time, see ya!